Staff announcement, Bubble Burst Rental is now open. If you enjoy this podcast, you may enjoy our other show, OVA Hell, where we talk about original video anime and movies from the 70s through early 2000s. We hope you enjoy shopping with us today.
So we gonna do the song suggestion?
I think that would be
we can
funny.
do that, or are we just gonna go into it?
God. We can do it. I'm gonna be going. No.
Oh my god, should we all record it separately afterwards and send it to you so you can put it together in like a dramatic intro?
Okay, here's how we do it. We all pull up the lyrics and we just fuck around with it, and whatever happens, happens.
If we're doing this live, fuck it.
Oh my god, we're gonna do the whole thing. It's so long. Do you want to stream the intro so we have backing music for us, or are we gonna do it without?
Without, it's worse.
We'll do it live.
I only remember the last bit of. That's all I remember how it goes.
It's in the chat. It's in the chat. Check the lounge chat.
Well.
No, I have the lyrics, but I don't have the tune.
I don't know the
That's
tune.
funny,
I don't know the tune. Okay, are we ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. I
look up, stars are bright, heaven seems so far away. Come back someday.
Incomprehensible. Fucked up and evil.
Somewhere
there's a dream in my heart within the skies of
God damn it. Bunnings!
Fucked up and evil. Welcome back to Bubble Burst Rental. How are we all doing? We just spent a month watching Legends of the Galactic Hero, the 1989 first season of that. There's like over 100 episodes. We didn't watch all of it. We just watched season 1.
Which was how many episodes?
26?
26 episodes.
And I didn't finish them because I thought we were recording tomorrow.
But you caught up.
Fine. You caught up.
You speedrun.
You've seen everything that matters. You've got well-formed thoughts on the last 4 episodes.
Surely.
Yeah, Legends of the Galactic Hero, technically, OVA Hell crossover. This was an OVA. Not something we could do on the main show, but something we can definitely do here. Based on the 10-book series by, I don't have the author's name. I should have got that
Should have pulled that up.
We're back. We are so back. Every time it's like, wow, I should pull something up. And then I haven't.
I searched Legends of the Galactic Heroes to help, and it auto-completed to Legends of the Galactic Heroes Reinhard X Kyrgyz.
That's why we're here.
Anyway, based on the series of books by Yoshiki Tanaka, Season 1 and 2, Season 1, that we just watched, roughly covers the first 2 books, plus some material from some of the spin-offs that came later. There's some prequel stuff in there, some stuff from side stories and sub-stuff that's not included in the main books.
It's very Expanse-esque like that. Very much like how Amazon handled the Expanse and expanded on the Expanse.
What do we think of Legends of the Galactic Heroes?
So we have a small plan this time. So we're going to start by talking about the first 2 episodes because they are noticeably different, it feels like, compared to the rest of the show.
Noticeably different? Can I say noticeably worse?
I feel like you can say noticeably worse. I was so worried after we watched the first 2 episodes because I was like, oh god, that was not great. And then it starts picking up rapidly from there.
Did you think that not the Rise of Skywalker, did you think that The Last Jedi had a slow spaceship battle? Oh boy!
See, I feel I'm the only one, because I know you all found it a bit slow. I actually really liked the first 3 episodes, because I felt that you got a feel for the characters without being bogged down by all their backstories, and it set out what the space battles are supposed to be without getting too complicated, which, I brought up The Expanse earlier, but really, it's sort of a middle ground between Star Trek and The Expanse. I know that it predates a lot of those, well, not Star Trek, but definitely Expanse. Basically, it's got the grandiose space battles and the naval-style warfare of Star Trek, as well as the top-down perspective of the commanding officers, but the realism of space, the vastness of space, and the political fuckery of The Expanse, and that was my kind of vibe from the first 3 episodes.
I think what got it for me was my expectations, because I'm going into it, I'm expecting basically cool space battles, and the tactics they use in that first battle are one side is going forward and the other side goes slightly around them, and then the commanders remark, "Oh, he's intelligent, he's so smart, it's insane," and the tactics are so basic. So I was like, oh god, are the tactics going to be this bad the whole show? But thankfully that wasn't the case. But I do agree that the characterization was pretty good. I think they were setting up a lot in those first 2 episodes.
Yeah, thankfully it is mostly character setup, but I do maintain that first battle is pretty bad. And as someone who has, like, RTS brain, the later battles in the series scratch that a lot better for me. With like, oh yes, I see how this is RTS-able. I've played Command and Conquer, I know how this works. In a way that just wasn't there for that first battle. But bearing in mind that first battle, I think we should probably quickly talk about the characters that it's mostly setting up right at the start.
There's Yang Wenli, who is just really cool. I like him a lot.
He's a cool dude. He's like 30-something.
He's 30-something. He's addicted to coffee with whiskey in it.
Brandy.
He's me for real.
I thought it was tea. It's worse.
Tea with whiskey?
It's tea with whiskey, which is fucked.
That is fucked.
Like, at least coffee, like, you can Irish up a coffee. That's a thing people do. But whiskey and tea... Not to get British on Maine.
It's very funny that you introduce Yang Wenli right as you take a big yawn, because that is so in character for him.
I'm sorry, I got up not too long ago.
Broadly, Legends of the Galactic Hero follows 2 sides of a intergalactic war. The Empire and the Alliance. I think they've got fuller names, but for sake of argument, they're the Empire and the Alliance. Yang is fighting for the Planetary Alliance, whereas his rival, Reinhard, is fighting for the Empire. Reinhard is, I guess, probably closer to a main character. He's a massive prick, but I do kind of love Reinhard.
He does take very main character energy. I thought he was the main character before going in, because he's on every poster. He also looks the part, whereas Yang does not feel like he should be the main character, but he is.
When I started the show, I didn't think Yang was going to be a main character. I just thought he was going to be, oh yep, this is a guy we're focusing on for a bit, but he's not going to be, like, central to the plot. No, not at all.
Yeah, he's really important.
Yeah. Overall, I'd argue that Reinhard is the main character, but they do a good job of balancing main characters across, like, both sides of the conflict, showing the problems with both factions, both groups, making everyone interesting.
I was going to say, one thing they very noticeably do in the first 2 episodes is kill off a guy, and they, like, have him open up a locket with a picture of his wife, and it's just like, I see what you're doing, but it was so early that I didn't care, but by the time you get to, like, meeting his wife, I'm like, oh, I get it, like, this is really cool. But when it first happened, I was like, I don't know what's going on.
I do want to talk about I wrote it down, but I couldn't find it in my notes, that the first 2 episodes aren't bad, they're just not for me.
I definitely got that vibe too. I'm not really, like, a space battles person, though.
The space battle's just so weird because, like, towards the end, they just kind of, like, end up going in a circle and Ouroboros shooting the other side's ass.
Yeah.
And it's just such a weird direction for the battle to go because it feels like such aimless tactics.
Especially considering later in the season, they're so much more dynamic. Like, the tactics are better. There's interesting music and, like, camera usage. That's 2D, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So this is, like, noticeably kind of meh by comparison.
To be fair, a lot of shows take way longer to find their groove, and I mean, I think even while it is finding its groove, it still was a pretty compelling introduction, character-wise at the very least, and at least concept-wise I found. But maybe that's because I've been kind of craving this kind of show for a while, and accidentally picked one for this podcast. Woo!
Just dartboarded it.
There is one thing I found really cool about the introduction, and it kind of ties in. One of my favorite characters from this show, what was his name again? What was his name
Describe
again?
him.
The guy, Merkatz, right. Admiral Merkatz appears in these first few episodes to set up a plotline that takes a lot. Yeah, no, he's one of the people under Reinhardt's command, and he introduces the technology where the Empire is far more technologically advanced, and they have the sleeping pods. And I think, and there's a line that he says that kind of perfectly shows the dichotomy between the Alliance and the Empire, where basically someone says, yeah, but you, unfortunately, going into these sleeping pods, you don't dream. And then it's like, yeah, well, the dreams will just be nightmares anyway. And I'm like, fuck, in the context of the rest of the series, that's so good, because if you think about it, the young generation's like, under this empire, there's no chance to dream for a better future. It's just a perpetual thing. And then the older generation's like, yeah, well, why would you want to dream when there's been so much bloodshed from the empire beforehand? Merkatz is one of my favorite characters on the show because he knows his shit, and he just has so many great fucking speeches in this show. And it's just, there's another one I'll get into later.
I was going to say, that's an amazing segue into the Empire and Characters section of the video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you just want to quickly go through how we're actually breaking this down?
Yeah, sure.
Just to, like, give the context for anyone listening.
Cool. So, because this show is incredibly complex, and we'd probably be talking for hours if we didn't have some kind of structure, we're breaking this episode down into the first 2 episodes, which we just did, and then we're going to talk about the Empire and their story and characters, and then the politics of the Empire, because there's a lot of politics in the show. And then after that, we'll do the Alliance.
I'm gonna have to hold my tongue because, I wrote down so many notes about hating on nobles and the bourgeoisie.
I don't think you gotta hold your tongue.
This show is so good!
And then after that, we'll do the Alliance and the Alliance politics. And then at the end of this season, there's a rebellion arc, which is its own whole thing. But first, let's do the Empire.
Yeah, so the main characters, the main characters of the Empire are Reinhardt, who we've kind of already touched on. I think I've said this already, but I'd argue he's probably the main character of the show if you had to pick one. But he is like co-leads with Yang for a lot of it. And then there's his second in command, Kirchis?
Kirchis.
Kirchis.
I just ended up calling him Sieg in my notes because his first name's Siegfried, so I was like, fuck it. Hi, Sieg.
Sieg Zeon.
To be fair, I was calling Reinhard Lowengram because his full name is Reinhard von Lowengram, and then I was like, wait, is that his first name? No, it's not.
No. Oh god, there are comparisons to be made to Gundam and how Legend of the Galactic Heroes handles its two-sided war where both sides are maybe not equally as bad
in different ways.
Differently bad. Yeah. Fuck it, I'm gonna hit that now and then we'll get back to characters, because one of the biggest problems with Gundam as a franchise, at least Universal Century Gundam, is that it starts with the fucking colony drop.
Yeah. They blew up Australia! How could they?
Gundam starts, like, the opening move of Gundam as a story is Zeon drops a colony on Australia, they did a genocide.
Much like in Genocyber.
Just much like in Genocyber.
But hey, she could be redeemed.
And that kind of... I've not watched the original Gundam myself, but, like, one of the problems with that is that from that point onwards, yeah, the Earth Federation in Gundam sucks, but they've not done a genocide. They didn't drop the colony. It puts, like, the evil of Zeon way out there. And coming back to Legends of the Galactic Hero, at no point does either side, like, out evil each other, if that makes sense. There's no real point in this show where either of the major sides do something that is just so far out there that they could never recover from it.
I think maybe there is a breaking point at the end of this season where that might be starting to happen, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, sorry. Back to characters. Sorry for diverting there.
And then I'd say the next most important character, although she doesn't get a lot of screen time, would be Anne Rose, Reinhardt's sister. Because she, when he was a kid, gets taken away to be the wife of the Emperor. And that's grim enough by itself, but it kind of spurs him and Kiriki on to try and take over and, like, save her. It's their main motivation to gaining power.
It gets worse because of the context of she was 15 and she was bought.
Yeah, the family sold her in exchange for, I think, getting their aristocracy back, basically.
He got a small bag of money, that's all I know.
It's also framed in the way that he accepted the money because it was either that or she would be taken away and they'd get nothing and they'd be outcast.
Yeah, they didn't
Like,
have a
the
choice.
Emperor had his eye on her, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know it, like, we hear about the Emperor visiting her, but I don't know, like, if it's a courting thing?
I definitely think they're married because her surname is Grunwald.
I'm pretty sure the implication was that.
I thought she got given a countesshood.
Yeah, I don't know if they're married, especially because the Emperor has multiple lovers, concubines, whatever the proper term is. Because he only seems to care for her throughout the series, but there are confirmed others who get a bit pissed off that he's ignoring them. That's a later plot line, though. We're not quite there
And
yet.
boy, do I have notes about that.
The treatment of women in the Empire in general is also a very big thing, because you'll notice that all the women we see are either low-level workers or in the colonies, or they will be counts in the aristocracy who don't usually have a lot of autonomy, with the exception of one daughter in the nobility that backs Reinhardt. And you'll notice there's not a single woman in the military, there's not a single woman in positions of power outside of that. Compare that to the Alliance, where there's women working on the spaceships, women in politics, women all the things. I think that's a very deliberate choice in that whole organization. Yeah,
I think it ties in really well with the kind of the older Germanic aesthetics they've got going on, because they're very, they call the Emperor as the Kaiser, and they use Sieg Heil. It's very like just before Nazi Germany-esque Germany.
I did not see that coming.
The Empire did do eugenics. That is something they are confirmed to have done previously. They don't do it anymore. They make a point that the Empire does not currently do eugenics. But they did at one point.
Yes, it's very actually... This is a good tie-in, sorry. It's a good... it's a plot point with the other important character in the Empire, Paul von Oberstein, who we will get to. But he...
Prick.
He doesn't have eyes. He has electronic eyes or robot eyes?
Cybernetic eyes.
Yeah.
That's the word. Fucking electronic eyes. Jesus Christ.
Fucking hate Oberstein.
Who do you think's worse, Cubey or Oberstein?
Oberstein.
I think
Cube.
I might say Cube.
Cubey's definitely
Probably.
worse.
My
On
friend got a
technicality,
Cubey
it is
plushie
Cubey.
last weekend. We went out with him because he got me a Teto figurine. Thank you, Everin, if you're watching this.
Yay!
Yes, I have a Teto figurine now
Hooray.
at MJ's place. And what ended up happening was he found a Cubey plushie and bought it just to bully it. He has now been punching it non-stop for the past 4 days. Oberstein plushie when?
They've done merch of him. You can buy chibi figures of the war criminals. I found out
Aw.
yesterday. I posted them in chat.
Only slightly better than Hetalia.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, I was gonna say, at least with Hetalia, they're abstract concepts encapsulating an entire country. They're not actually specific characters. And I'm
Not-
pretty sure at one point Germany does decry the Kaiser in Hetalia. Because they're separate people.
Of course. When are we doing Hetalia on this?
I know,
When are
right?
we fucking with
Please
that?
no.
One other thing I'd say is that the Empire is very homogenous. They're all kind of, like white Germanic. They all have
Yeah, I have a point on
specific
this.
surnames. Go on.
So, all of them are Germanic in name. However, they specifically worship Odin, and their home planet is called Odin. And they also talk about Valhalla a lot, which is obviously Norse. So, to me, that kind of read as this sort of, like, because in the world of this, like, these are humans as descended from us currently. So, is this supposed to be kind of like a sort of mishmash of like European culture? Like, it's, they've taken the coolest pieces from the memories of what it was like back on Terra.
Honestly, probably because a guy came. What was his name? The guy who founded the Empire like 300 years prior.
Oh, something Golden Bomb.
Robert?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rudolph.
I do actually have a note that's kind of ties into that. If you do look at a lot of the, because of course there's ties with Nazi Germany, completely fucking obvious. If you do actually look at when the Nazi regime was starting, they did appropriate a lot of imagery from other cultures to try and strengthen their own look. Like, of course, the swastika was an inverted Indian symbol, and they did also take a lot of architectural inspiration from the Roman Empire and also on the structure of how power should be kind of distributed. So I do think that the whole kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? The parallels to the rise of fascism in Germany to the rise of fascism in the Empire and Legend of Galactic Heroes, it's more than just skin deep. It's more than just, it's just a little... This person's actually done their research on the kind of aesthetics that the Nazi regime would have used, and that's where I think a lot of the Roman Empire imagery comes from. I mean, they even have a scene that's basically Julius Caesar being struck down early in the season.
Oh yeah, the Ides of
there
March
is.
bit.
I thought that was the Greek in style planet, not Roman.
It was in the Greek planet, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just fun. But it works really well, the kind of the Nazi allegories, because the Alliance is like very clearly the Alliance. Like, they're all very
the Allies.
multicultural, but they're different in specific ways that I think is very interesting and we'll get to.
One of the notes I wrote down early on is I'm coming into the episode. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to give very deep or nuanced commentary. So here's my not very deep commentary. I had a note saying, I wonder if this show is a response to World War II.
Maybe.
June.
To be fair, the book series was written, 50 years after World War II?
Yeah,
So
book
the
series.
author could have been
80s.
alive during World War II. And of course, we can't forget that this is a Japanese series, so it's going to have a Japanese perspective on things, which is always very interesting when it comes to World War II.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of impressed with sort of how negatively the Empire is presented. because I was like, which side are we on here? Actually, are there any Japanese characters in this series?
I don't think so.
I think there's
Not specifically,
one.
no.
Or he
The only one,
not one.
the only noticeably Asian character is Yang.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought I saw a separate Asian character. Who I didn't see the name of.
Because, like, if so, like, it's very interesting that, like, did Japan not survive into this? Like, were they assimilated? Because, like, it's entirely possible if they were aligned with the Empire. One thing I hypothesized is the naming is intentional, so you have to have a Germanic name in the Empire. Like, those are, like, the names people are given. So you have that kind of, like, racial purity. But that doesn't mean they're actually German.
I did notice.
That's true.
Just as well, sort of on the topic of that a lot of the people in the Empire are blonde, and there's not a lot of blondes in the Alliance.
Yes,
That's
bar
probably goes
one
back to
important
eugenics.
character. Yeah.
Yep, that'll do it.
The one very important character who's a redhead.
Oh yeah.
God, I love Kircheese. Kircheese. I can't. His name
Kircheese.
sucks. I'm sorry.
Kiruhiaisu!
I love Siegfried. He's great. He is the second best guy in the show. Yang is the best guy in the show because he's the best person overall, but Siegfried comes a close second. And he's such an important character. Yeah, sorry. What are you
I
gonna
was gonna say, should we talk about how Reinhard and Siegfried's relationship as childhood friends, it feels more than just friendship towards the end of this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's intentional.
These bitches
called
gay.
it immediately. I was like, there's something up between these two.
I don't think
Like,
the author
he's-
would have been published if he made it any more obvious, but I think that was the intent.
Because Reinhard obviously being the main character of the Empire, and then he's got like a devil and an angel on his shoulder. His childhood friend Kircheis is the angel. He's very good. He's like just kind of the platonic ideal of a good boy. And then on his other shoulder is Oberstein, who is an asshole, and he's the one who kind of convinces him to do bad things. So they both push and pull at Reinhard's like morality during this season.
He also specifically hires Oberstein to be that darkness, or like Oberstein convinces him to bring him on as sort of like the conniving advisor who's willing to go that distance. And spoilers, he's willing to go that distance.
One thing I love early in the season is when they're still fighting against each other. There's this beautiful scene where they're walking through a courtyard and there's a bunch of pillars, and you'll notice that they walk through the shadows specifically, and Oberstein's always cast in shadow, whereas Reinhardt goes in and out of the shadow, and when he finally sides with Siegfried and says, "No, fuck you, I'm not doing that. I know I hide you, but, like, you've gone too far," he steps back into the light, whereas Oberstein sleeks further back into the shadow. It's subtle, but I fucking got it. I fucking love the cinematography in this show. I wish I'd noticed more of it, because even things like whether someone's sitting and whether someone's standing, the fact that the stars are visible on the spaceships of the Empire, but it's more visible and more boxed in on the Galactic Alliance, because the Empire looks outwards, whereas the Alliance looks inwards to protect its own. Just little things like that. The cinematography design is so fucking good in this show!
It's a real pretty show.
It's a very dense, complicated show that, again, I don't think I'm equipped for. I don't think I have the brains for it. So I apologize.
But I'm
for my
excited to
shallow
hear your
commentary.
opinion anyway.
Yes.
Because we'll bring up points and then you can like kind of respond to them as well.
One of the cool things that Legends of the Galactic Hero does as a show is it does constantly juxtapose the two storylines between each other. If something happens in the Empire in one episode, the next episode will probably focus on a comparable situation going on in the Alliance. So, for an example that I really wanted to bring up specifically, the Kane assassination attempt, which is then juxtaposed with an assassination attempt in the Alliance.
Yes, the Kane assassination attempt, if I remember correctly, is a disgruntled noble trying to kill the Kaiser, right?
Yes, he's trying to kill the Kaiser. He donates a... He's a disgruntled noble. He donates a painting to, I think, another noble family to try and get in. And his intent is that there's going to be a party soon. The Kaiser's going to show up. I'm going to show up to this party with my cane, which I'm going to leave behind, and it's a bomb. The bomb will go off. Which is fun. It's a real fun assassination attempt. It falls apart immediately.
Because people are like, why is this cane here? Let me move that.
No,
why
not
is this
because
cane
that.
here?
Because an old lady decides to faint suddenly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reinhard, being a good person, is like, let's sit her down. What's this cane doing here? You there. Get this cane somewhere else. Go get a doctor. And so the guy runs away with the cane, and then it explodes.
And also, at the same time, the Kaiser turned back. He had a stomach ache, so he was like, I don't want to come.
Yeah, he wasn't even there.
They did say he had a stomach ache, but looking back, could that have been some of his illness and his poor health leading up to his death? Because he does die, which incites the rebellion that happens later. That's how I read that.
It probably is, yeah, hinting towards that.
That is probably what's going on. His death did kind of bother me. I feel like that's one of those things that is, because this is adapting 2 books, that feels like something that's okay to do at the start of a second book, kind of in between stories, where it's like, okay, someone died off screen in between books, that's fine. Midway through a show, just being told that the Kaiser died off screen, it was a little jarring, even though we kind of knew it was coming.
I actually really liked it because that was his goal. Reinhard was going to kill the Kaiser for taking his sister, and then he just dies of illness, effectively taking away that goal from him. And then the sister is just released, and then she can go live in his house, and then his goal and mission has to change because all he wanted to do was get his sister back, and then he gets his sister back and has to kind of continue anyway. It's where kind of his goals start crumbling around him almost, and the reasons he does stuff, aside from just gaining power.
Also, we don't really focus on the Kaiser that much. Like, he's kind of barely a character, so for him to have barely an important death sort of makes sense, because to Reinhardt, this is just another stepping stone. Like, it doesn't really matter who's on the throne, even if it's a child.
Which it is.
I do kind of wish they'd shown it instead of told it. There are a lot of this show does highlight the really big moments, but there are parts where they gloss over things, such as, there are riots happening across the Alliance. Oh, great. How did that happen? Okay, they just happened now. And then also the death of the Kaiser, and then also some Ascension things. I think that there are very, very few times where the pacing suffers because they tell you instead of showing you something, like, the nobles are now revolting at a party. Are we going to see that party? No. Oh, okay then. Just
we do actually see the party very briefly.
Yeah, like for all of 5 seconds in one painted frame, and it's just little things like that where I would have loved to have seen it and gotten immersed in the world with the world building a little bit more, but those are so few and far between that it's not that big of an issue, I'd say.
I think it drops a lot of subtle hints, like with the nobles rebelling. So, like, the Kaiser dies, they skip over all the princesses and then put a child on the throne, and Lohengrin, or Reinhardt, sorry, gets kind of brought up, his station gets improved, and that pisses off the nobles. And then you see them scheming in, like, a few scenes over, like, a very long period of time. And then the garden party, where they decide to have the rebellion, happens. So, like, if you don't see a tiny detail, you'll miss quite a lot later on, which I think is really cool. But it also means that the watching experience is very intense, because you do have to pay attention.
You have to lock in for this show.
If you are the type of person to watch this on 2 times or even 3 times speed, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Pay attention. I have ADHD and I was still able to pay attention. Don't you dare.
Little triangle, look at the keys.
I don't know how people watch stuff on 2 times speed. That's
I
just
know.
fucked up and evil. How do you do that?
Or skip scenes randomly.
Because lectures at university are boring and you need to engage with information in a quicker amount of time, so you watch those on 5 times speed.
Oh, God.
I am not joking!
Anyway, as we reach the nobles plotting their rebellion, I think that is as good of a time as any that we maybe switch over to looking at the Alliance a little and what's going on with them. And their
Yes, I have
characters.
one more point for the Empire.
Fair enough.
Oberstein spends a lot of the latter half of the season basically complaining to Reinhard when they are alone together that he's giving too much preferential treatment to Kirkiais. Because
Yes.
they're best bros. Wink,
They're
wink.
childhood best friends. 2 bros chilling in a spaceship. 5 feet apart because they're not gay.
Because the scale is so big, so Reinhard's squad is like 12 guys. So he has loads of lieutenants under him, and they all kind of vie for a top spot, except they can never get it because he's there. And that causes a bit of like conflict inside his group, which is really interesting as well.
Yang time!
Can you do like
Yang
a
time!
Can you do a transition? It's just the Empire on screen.
Yeah, the Alliance.
You know,
Sorry, the Alliance. God damn it.
You know how Invincible has that little like that splash of the title with the trumpet? Do that, but with the Alliance.
I probably have to cut this bit out, but I don't know if anyone saw what I posted in memes the other day, which was Legends of the Galactic Hero version of those what's the name of the aliens from Invincible that have been going around?
Viltrumites?
Viltrumites, because there's a cover of I think one of the comics for Invincible, which is just a group of Viltrumites.
I didn't
it's
see you
been
post
redrawn with the
that.
Legends of the Galactic Heroes characters.
Yeah.
That's the ones which were spoiled. It's really cool.
Oh.
If this tangent doesn't get cut, I will throw them up on screen and credit the artists.
Please don't cut it because that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, The Alliance, starring Yang Wen Li, best guy. I love him so much.
Bestest
He's so
boy.
depressed.
My first note on him was brunette himbo.
He's so autistic!
I love Yang because he is the exact opposite of Reinhard, where he's so casual, he's a good tactician, but he doesn't want to be there, and he ends up kind of just achieving things, and people take advantage of him. In fact, I feel like his whole arc is him just being taken advantage of by political powers over and over again, but just being kind of like...
Even at the end of season 1, it happened. And I'm like, dude, did you not learn from this? 5 feet apart from the politician.
Literally, don't go in for the photo. I think the politicians and politics of the Alliance is so horrendously realistic to even modern day, and it's kind of painful at times.
We've learned nothing! We've learned nothing!
My note on episode 3 is, so the USA are a cult, just like in real life. They are, though.
One thing I found with Yang is that he's basically like that really fucking good supervisor you have at work who's really good at the job, cares about the job being done well, but doesn't care about the company itself, addicted to caffeine, and is super chill, but, takes his job seriously, and he's just waiting to get out of there. And he won't because of the way that the world and the economy is, but he's just desperate to. Shout out to Nick from my first job at Target. Yang is basically Nick.
How do we feel about Yang's ward, Julian Mintz? He's like
like
a
Julian.
14-year-old boy who lives in Yang's house. I don't know the backstory.
I want to know,
Yeah.
why? Because, is he like a war orphan? I mean, maybe it comes up later.
I think they explain in the remake? Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, he is. No, I think they explained he's a war orphan, and I know they explain it in the remake because that's the only thing I remember about the remake when I tried watching it when it first came out.
So I was actually chatting with June about this last night.
Hi.
and I looked into this on the Good Legends of the Galactic Heroes wiki, Geenopedia.
That's the one I'm on currently.
Yeah, there's two versions of the wiki.
Is one
There's
of them
a fandom one, and
Wikia?
there's-
Fandom, there it is. I
Yeah,
knew it.
yeah, there's a fandom wiki, and there's Geenopedia, which is, from everything I can find, the good one. The problem is it's been shut down since 2024
Aww.
due to like server issues. But it's still up, you can still find it. And it's not like the information's going to go out of date. It's not like they're making more of this at the moment, at least for the original series. It's done and has been for
Like 30 years?
30 years. 30 years, yeah.
Yeah, and they announced that the remake is getting a new season very soon, back in 2023. Any day now. Thank you, Production IG.
Yeah, but Julian is... His mom was a commoner. His dad was someone notable within the Alliance because he was descended from one of the founders of the Alliance. But his mom died when he was 2. His dad died when he was like 8. He lived with his grandma until he was 10, at which point his grandma died. And eventually he just kind of ended up being adopted by Yang.
Okay, because Yang's a nice guy.
Yang
He's a good
is
guy.
a nice guy. I do trust him with a child, even though he does bring that child into the military.
The child likes
I
it.
think Julian joined willingly.
Yeah, he does.
Although he does not want that child to come into the military.
I am desperately hoping this doesn't pull an Usagi drop, because after Vampire Night,
fucking
I am
imagine?
terrified. I am terrified after Vampire Night. I am sorry.
How long till we're doing Usagi drop on here?
Oh god, please don't make me.
No!
I
No!
liked
I'm not-
Usagi Drop. I didn't know about the manga, and then I found out about the manga.
I'm not familiar. This is all new to me.
Oh, we should watch Usagi Drop then.
We'll explain afterwards.
Reset the counts! Reset the counts!
Oh no!
There wasn't even anything in this one that we can use to reset the count. It just happened.
It's my fault. I take full responsibility. I will do something to repent. I don't know. You can
I
have
like-
my Teto
I like-
figure. You can have my Teto
Sorry.
figure.
One of the big
Yay.
things about the Empire that we haven't touched on yet is that they were
Alliance.
Alliance. One of the big things about the Alliance that we haven't touched on yet is that they were part of the Empire and then defected because it was a dictatorship. And that was about, 200 years ago? And then
300, I
the war
thought.
between the factions has been going on for 150 years.
Yeah.
So basically non-stop.
It's implied they ran away because of the eugenics, because of the genocide.
Which makes sense with, like, how the Alliance is much more diverse as well.
I actually really like the diversity. Yeah, there's not really many Japanese folks, but for an anime, they got a lot.
There is a prominent black military general in the Alliance, especially towards the start, and he's a real great character.
The black characters do unfortunately have a bad case of the lips.
They
But it
do.
was the
but
80s.
It was the 80s, and frankly, it could have been a lot worse. Especially considering that they're typically well-rounded characters, so I'm not gonna complain that much.
Have you thought about the names in the Alliance, by the way? Because they are an amazing case of Japanese naming Western characters.
Dusty
got-
Attenborough!
Andrew Fork.
We've got Andrew Fork, we've got Job, we've got Sydney
Job is the
Sithole.
name.
I should just mention that Andrew Fork in the subtitles that I was watching was Fork as in FAW, as in like Guy Fawkes.
Oh, interesting.
Oh yeah, on the Wikia it's FALK. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, same here, like Columbo. Like Columbo. You know, gee, Reinhardt, I gotta say, you've got a fantastic army here. But I gotta wonder, why weren't you at that bombing where 2 million people died?
Fuck, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Also, we gotta get to Fork, the absolute twat.
I fucking hated
I
Fork,
fucking
but like,
hate
Yeah.
I think it's good he went temporarily blind.
Fork found on floor, not even in the kitchen. He couldn't even cook.
Like, kind of the equivalent to Anna Rose in the Alliance is Jessica. But Jessica's way cooler. I
like
Jessica.
Jessica a lot.
Yeah.
She's the she was the wife of the guy who died in the first episode.
Lap.
And
His name was Lap.
she then goes into politics to try and stop the war. And she's amazing. She's really cool.
She joins the pro-peace party, who are a political movement advocating for a peace treaty with the Empire, and they get bombed by the secret police.
They do, yeah. Their offices get bombed because she was just working for them, and then she has to take the role and become the government official. Speaking of the secret police, should we touch on the secret police of the Alliance?
Yes. So the Alliance has, I believe that officially they're like a cult,
A radical patriotic group.
a radical group. They're not officially associated with the government, but they're called the Patriotic Knights. Not to get political or anything, but they're ICE. They are ICE. They show up, harass people, beat them up.
They disappear people. They actually disappear people.
Yeah, they
It's,
do.
Like said on
Yeah.
screen. It's not subtext, it's just text.
It's just text.
I do have a screenshot of a fat one of them that I that I made a note of and wrote "fat man" in all caps.
I made a specific note that, because you see a few of them without their masks, because they wear masks.
This was written so long ago, and it's so relevant.
I pitched this show to my dad because it seems like something he'd like, and I said the more things change, the more they stay the same.
I did make the specific note that the specific looks and body types of some of the Patriotic Knight members are like, yeah, these are the exact kind of chuds that would sign up for this. Nothing's changed.
To be fair, given that this is from the 80s, it could be more inspired by... It could be a mix of American right-wing chuds and the Aikokuto in Japan. You know those dickheads that keep going around saying that foreigners should be kicked out of Japan, and they've got the big vans and the big megaphones, and they do like big ceremonies every day and say Japan needs to become homogenized, yada yada yada. Young'uns fucking hate them. But the thing is that the ideas of fascism are just so similar that they can stand in for a modern version of ICE these days. And this anime in fucking general works really well. It has aged like fine wine.
It has.
Yeah, like because the Alliance is much more modern compared to the Empire, it just feels, and they have like a democratic system, and the way that the politicians fight each other, and then I just look at the news and I'm like, oh, it's the same.
Nothing's changed. It's the exact same. Nothing has ever changed, unfortunately.
I wrote down in my notes, I'm going back to my notes a lot because they're very useful for me, that, this show should be watched by modern audiences because of, the fact that it's still relevant.
I think one thing with Yang and the politics is that because he's a good tactician and he saved a bunch of people's lives, he gets the nickname Miracle Yang and is basically used as like a centerpiece for like the war effort. Even though he is absolutely against war, he becomes kind of a propaganda piece for pro-war politicians, and that's so good. It's such good writing.
No, I was just going to say, Yang's biggest character flaw is that he is not good with the politics. He has a very, altruistic, idealistic view of things. He's, again, I keep saying, he's, the best guy in the show, but he is not actually good at handling any of the political side. He's far too, straightforward a guy to be able to handle the intricacies of the political side of his job. He's a great tactician, but God, he can't handle people.
As I said, he is incredibly autistic.
It's amazing when you compare, a speech by Reinhard, and it's all grandiose and dramatic, and then a speech by Yang, and he's like, yep, get out there, don't die, guys. And that's it.
And he fumbles over that.
And yet
Yeah.
everybody goes behind him because they know that every single word that he means, because there's no kind of fakeness behind it. Every word, he means every word he says. And they're like, yep, he's gonna make sure we don't fucking die here. We trust him wholeheartedly. And it's such a great parallel against Reinhardt, who desperately wants power, desperately clings to it. And that's why he's probably a terrible person to be in power, whereas the ones who don't want it and have it put upon them are probably the best ones to have that kind of power. Again, this show's really fucking good.
I also think that it's really interesting that in this season, I can't think of a single time the Empire, who I would consider the baddies traditionally, attacks the Empire. It's always the Empire attacking Isildon Fortress, it's always the Alliance attacking Isildon Fortress, or the Alliance trying to invade the Empire's territory.
Oh god, the Alliance invasion is so dumb. Like,
Because
There
there's
was the first few episodes.
realistically dumb, but it's like, fuck, why are the people here this stupid that they think that this is a good idea? Fork, what are you fucking thinking? Why are you pushing for this?
It's really interesting. It's because he doesn't go. He doesn't go to war so he can push for this patriotic bullshit.
I can explain why by using and please feel free to cut this, because this is very recent politics. It is exactly the fucking same as Netanyahu engaging in the genocide because he was up for election and wanted a deflection against it. And because he didn't want people revolting against him. It's the same fucking thing, time is a flat circle.
It's also the same as America helping to invade Iran because they were going to lose the midterms. It's the same tactics.
It's the same tactics.
Again, feel free to cut this section, but I stand by my words.
I fucking hate
If I can
politicians.
keep it in, I'm gonna keep it in, because, like, this show deserves the discussion regarding modern politics. It is very, actively relevant in a lot of very specific ways.
It's cathartic in how relevant it is.
Yeah. There's one name on the character list that we've not touched on, and that's Job Trunicht. Who the fuck is Job? I don't remember Job.
Job is the shithead pro-war politician that keeps fucking over Yang.
Right. Yes, he is. Donald Trump. Got it.
He's the one who keeps pulling him into photos and hides in a bunker.
Yes, he
when
does.
shit goes down, and then emerges and is like, well, that was a fun riot, guys. Anyway, I'm on the side of this religion now.
Let's use Yang as a propaganda piece again.
That reminds me of one of the coolest parallels in the show. They're all fucking the coolest parallels in the show. The politician lady, what's her name? When she's
Jessica?
Jessica. When
Jessica.
she's first grieving, and she goes up to him and she says, where are you when you make those decisions? She then goes on to make that message of grief a campaign message. It's so good.
It's really good.
It is really good.
Can we talk about what happens to Jess? Oh, but that's during the
That's
rebellion
during the
arc.
rebellion. I have words on that. I have words. Anyway, yeah. Is there anything else we want to touch on with the Alliance and their politics and their story before we hit the rebellion? Because we are. I mean, there's so much to talk about, but I do also like. Sorry, this podcast could potentially go on for 5 hours if we talked about everything, and
Yeah.
I do want to cap these at 2 hours.
There is one thing that I do feel needs mentioning, and that's the drastic jump in quality at episode 15. And I have a reason as to why I think it jumped in quality.
I
Okay.
wrote down in my episode 15 was interesting for me because that was a shift in Reinhardt's character.
What was episode 15? Let me just grab up my notes.
It was the big attack on Isilon Fortress where they finally start going in. The characters get far more detailed, the backgrounds get far more detailed, the
Right.
motion is a lot more detailed.
Well, no,
My-
episode 15 is when the Alliance's push into Imperial territory gets cut off.
That's, yeah. Okay.
The invasion, yeah.
Yeah, the invasion, right. Okay, I'm getting confused. It's the push, the really fucking stupid war. Okay, I'm getting confused, but I did look into it because I'm like, okay, the animation quality obviously increased. What I think happened is that they started getting more outsourcing to overseas in-betweener teams, that they were able to put more... They paid less to get more for it. I think that's when they started doing that. Side note, although uncredited, some of this show was animated in North Korea.
What?
I remember
Yep.
you mentioning that in text, and it's like, oh, huh.
Yeah, no, they fucking did it in... What's the animation studio? I've got it on the screen here somewhere. Yeah, no, so it was commissioned, it was, basically all that they said in the show was, we outsourced it to a country that they had no diplomatic relations. And when you look at the connections with the company beforehand, it's a fucking... It's literally one... What's the name of the... It's the one behind this series called Pororo. I'm not sure what the studio is called. I don't know what the... It's the government-run one. Like, you can literally see the whichever Kim Jong was there at the time. At the
It would have been
animation studio
ill.
commissioning it. Yeah, it was the same kind of thing where they just wanted to get more money from overseas. And yeah, no, it's never outright stated because they go uncredited, partially because it's North Korea, partially because in-betweeners aren't usually credited anyway because it's not seen as artistically merited. But yeah, no, it's very fucking likely that they use the here we go. It's called it's April 26th children's it's no, that's not it. No. I don't know what the fuck this studio is called. I cannot find it, but it's the government-run animation studio in North
Sec.
Korea that does in between. Sec, there we go. That's it.
Fuck. What the hell? What?
Yes.
Okay.
Deep lore.
That is interesting.
I'm sorry.
I don't know how to
had to
process
bring this
that.
up. I had to bring this up. I am so sorry.
Especially with, like, how deeply political this show is. You have to assume they didn't know what they were working on if it was done in North Korea, right?
My guess is it was the 80s. They were just outsourcing a whole bunch of in-betweens to everyone. I believe the creative staff were fully immersed in it.
It seems like they worked with South Korea, specifically. Like, the North Korean studio Sec. Like, they got the work through South Korea.
Oh, do you think they contracted a South Korean company who contracted a North Korean company?
That's what
That's
I'm
what it
saying.
seems to be.
Or the studio executives probably just said, we'll just outsource it, it's fine, it works fine. I don't think the creative team knew. I can't imagine they would have known.
Oh, actually, before we move on to the rebellion, that's something. We don't have notes for this because it's so minor, but I think that we should quickly discuss the third faction, Fresen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Space Switzerland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really underrepresented in the show. Basically, most of it's just them as an expository device, but there's hints they're going to do something later. Potential man.
Yes, they're implanting spies in both factions, and they also seem to be the home of the pro-terror religion, which makes small appearances in this season, but I assume becomes bigger later.
The leader of the planet is a war profiteer who also was in part responsible for putting a 5-year-old on the Empire's throne after the first Kaiser in the show died.
So he's manipulating both sides, like, properly.
He has a secret nerve meeting room as well where he speaks with Emperor Palpatine.
Palpatine?
Palpatine. Oh, fuck.
I wrote, God, Rubinsky, head of Fezon, because I thought it was Fezon, not Frezon, has his own Palpatine in the form of the Grand Bishop. He's got a secret tunnel behind his bookshelf.
Secret tunnel!
Oh, okay, actually, I do have one more Alliance opinion here. I think because the Empire is so Germanic and Nazi-esque, they could have made the Empire of the same time period, the Alliance of the same time period. I know I keep mixing them up, but they don't. They make it much more modern. And so you get this kind of like old-style noble commentary, and then effectively a new style of nobles commentary, them being like politicians and then the upper classes in like the modern day, and it works so well.
I will say, bring it back to Fezan before we move on. I was a little bit disappointed they didn't do much, but I suspect that they're just seeding everything from the later books at this point. So right now, Fezan is the potential man of the story, and I'm hoping to see more in Season 2 because I am fucking watching Season 2.
Yeah, I hope we get to do Season 2 for this show at some point, because if we don't, I'll definitely watch it on my own, but...
Same.
Yeah. Anyway, are we ready to talk about the rebellion arc, where there's we have
A lot going on.
a Jew.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah,
Do you want me to very quickly explain or set up what happens to lead into the rebellions?
sure thing. Yeah, the dual civil wars.
Yes. So in the Empire, the nobles are annoyed that this lowborn noble is getting all this power and wants to basically get rid of Reinhard. So they all collect together and try and kill him, and fail spectacularly and fall back to a fortress. And then so there's kind of Reinhard has to take care of that rebellion. And then Reinhard also instigates rebellions in the Alliance because it's his fault. He lets spies in to the Alliance to try and destabilize it, which works. So then Yang has to go...
Including turning Fork, who shoots a guy.
And then... So Yang has to leave his station, which he's been happily chilling at, to go and deal with these rebellions. And that's also almost more dramatic for me than the Empire's one.
Yang has to leave the Death Star Ezelon that we've not really mentioned, but it's also not necessarily that important beyond the first part.
It's important strategically, but in terms of the story, it's not hugely important. Yeah,
The show's more Star Trek than Star Wars and expansy-wancy stuff, so the technology is there, but the politics is the main focus of the show, and I do really appreciate that.
Yeah, but I like describing things as the Death Star or Emperor Palpatine or whatever.
Stars War.
Stars War.
I think noticeably the Alliance's rebellion is very, again, modern coded, where it's they want what's best for people. Because the Alliance's government is corrupt, noticeably corrupt. But the way they try and take over through just civil uprising, except they're not military control over these planets, is maybe the worst way they could have possibly gone about it. And it only gets worse because every episode leading up to a certain point goes, and the tragedy will start soon. And you're like, it's not started yet?
Going back just a little bit on the Empire being corrupted, or corrupt. This is before the rebellion, the Civil War arc starts, but just before the very bad, no good invasion of Empire space that they do. There is that bit where they're all talking around, where the council is talking around a table, and they keep talking about the morals of what they're doing. They've got to appear moral, they're doing the right thing, and yet at the same time they've got a secret police disappearing people, and they are openly nakedly corrupt, but they believe or have to feign at being moral, and I think that's really interesting.
And after they send genuinely tens of thousands of soldiers to their death and starve out or just kill a bunch of civilian planets, they just get to step down. They're like, oh, well, that didn't go well. I guess I'll just quit my job. And it's so horribly painful.
One thing I do appreciate is that a lot of media, I'll find, they don't know how to write smart, but they do know how to write, so that they can only conceive of smartness up to the level of how good the writer is. This show, when it writes smart characters, they actually know, they're actually as smart as they say. The decisions most people make in the show, when they're smart decisions, they're actually fucking smart decisions. I have to make this decision because the circumstances prevent me from making any other decision. Everything leads to everything else. It's a thing of reactions, which makes the stupidity of the nobles contrasted even more, because when the whole show is just acting stupid, it'll be one thing, but when everyone in the show is a victim of their own circumstances and just dealing with what they can, the fact that those nobles are so fucking moronic as to even throw aside the best tactician they have.
They're so far up their own asses and high off their own farts. That's how I worded it.
The nobles are so fucking dumb.
I think at one point I turned to you and was like, this is why the Art of War by Sun Tzu was written.
Yeah, that thought did come into my head.
Protect your supply lines. Maybe try retreating.
Yeah, if you're going to lose, don't.
If it's not favourable, you can leave at any time.
Okay, I know I'm backed into a corner, but I will help you as long as you make sure that you listen to what I have to say. We promise that. Immediately goes back on the promise and doesn't listen to a word Meerkat says. Again, I want to bring... Merkatz is my favorite character from the show, and there is this beautiful line that takes place just as the rebellion is starting. And it's a line about privilege, where it's, you know... What was the line again? I've got it written here somewhere. It was... where was it? It was, privilege corrupts a man's soul. You instinctively justify yourself while blaming others. And that's just so much the case
That's
because
such a good
these
line.
nobles just fucking... It's true of life. It's true of these fucking nobles who are just like, no, it's everyone else's fault. Even up to the end when they're backed into a corner, they're like, oh, I can just bribe Reinhardt and live the rest of my life fine. Like, honestly... Merkatz is the GOAT, I will keep saying that. Also, is voiced by the legendary Goro Naya, who you've all heard as Zenigata on this show before.
Oh shit, that was Zenny. Well, not on this show. We haven't done Lupin on this show.
Well, we've done it on OVA Hell, and like...
Yeah,
when
on
I
the
first
other
heard him
show.
Yeah, when I first heard him speak in the first episode, I've even put it in the chat, I'm like, wait a second, is that fucking Goro Naya? Holy shit, it is! Because his voice, he's a fucking great voice actor, and what a great character, and I am so glad he's not out of the... I'm not out of this show yet, because I hope he's in for the long haul, because if they fucking kill him off, I'm gonna be pissed.
There's a lot of betrayals in this section as well. Lots of people changing sides and backstabbing other people, which is obviously very compelling.
Yeah. Do we want to kind of break down the dual civil war? We've kind of already started, but like the same way that we did for previously, where we'll focus on the Empire's side first, and then we focus on the Alliance. Does that make a bit more sense?
Yeah, I feel like we're already talking about the Alliance, so we can just...
Or the
finish that one
Empire.
off.
Empire.
Yeah, you're already talking about the Empire. Oh my god.
It's okay.
I'm in the Empire! I'm in the Alliance! I'm in the combination Alliance and Empire! And Oberstein is here and is a fucking wanker again!
I mean, they're both fascists.
Yeah, I mean, this is where we get to the very bad, no good thing that Oberstein did. Because it is him that did it. You know, it's like...
Yeah.
Reinhard takes the fall for it, and I'm not super clear on why. Because
I think he feels responsible
he
for
might
it.
feel responsible, but dude, you did not do shit. Which I
Do you
know
want to
is kind
explain
of the point.
what happens?
He can't not take responsibility, because then it's seen that he's undermined by his own subordinates. So he has to own that shit and just reap the benefits of it. There's literally nothing he can do except tell Kirihi Ice, but because it's been away from him from so long, he feels guilty about the whole thing. I am 99% sure that Oberstein lied about how many hours it would take to get to the planet. I'm 99% sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Yes.
What actually happens, by the way, is that the noble, whatever his name was... Oh, nice. It's
Brunswick, I think it was? The leader of the nobles, who is such a shit. Awful. Terrible
so
man.
He gets upset that his, like, the people on the planet that he runs are rebelling, so he just nukes the whole planet.
Yeah.
And Reinhard, basically, because he was tricked by Oberstein, doesn't help them. So lets the planet be destroyed, but they do film it and use it for propaganda.
Which Reinhard did not say to do. He was like, no, don't do that. We're going to help them, but I'm going to decide at the last possible minute whether to do this or not. And then Oberstein went, alright, deploy a camera there. Let's film it. Oh, looks like they nuked it earlier.
Because Reinhardt's forces have spies within the noble camp, So they know that this is coming. And Oberstein goes to Reinhardt and is like, hey, they're going to nuke this planet. I say you let them do it, because that way we can use it to propaganda. We can have the nobles kind of seal their own fate. Even if they win, which they won't, don't worry, this will nuke any popularity they have with the people. Oberstein is the worst guy.
Yeah, it's 2 million people.
The worst part is he's correct, though.
Yeah, they do, like, it does make everyone hate them, so
It ends the revolution quicker, so less people die.
Just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right. And I think at that point it's important to note when they're talking, the shots have Reinhardt sitting down and Oberstein standing above him.
And Kyrgyz is away as well,
Yeah.
so he has no angel to
Also,
talk him out of
it's
it.
not. Also, I could be misremembering, but it's not on the backdrop of space. It's in a dark room with with not much lighting in it.
And it's contrasted so well with the Alliance tragedy.
Yeah, which we'll get to in just a minute, but the nobles drop the colony is what I've got in my notes to go back to the Gundam thing, because that is the nobles nuking any position they ever had. They literally nuke people, but it's also, people died, and that's not good. People don't like
2
it when
million.
people die. 2 million,
2 million.
people died. And despite the fact that basically from that point forwards, the nobles have lost, they keep fighting, and they keep not listening to Mercats the whole time.
And they fucking
Yeah.
partied afterwards as well.
Yeah,
They did, didn't they?
They
Yeah.
did, but you'll notice that the party was oddly empty. Like, most of the nobles had fucking left or died previously.
And a lot of them killed themselves as
Yeah.
well, which
Yeah.
is really interesting because
There was like an epidemic of suicide specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, massive trigger warning for this show. If you handle, suicide not very well, do not watch this.
there's a lot of patriot bullshit, and they tend to do that when they start losing.
There's a whole lot of burning your dread.
Basically, the nobles' rebellion comes down to its Duke Brunswick, if that was his name. It's something like that. And this other noble dude who has a fuck-ass haircut that I hate. You know exactly who I'm on about. I don't know the character's name, but
And
tell
then
me
Brunswick's
his haircut
nephew.
is not awful. Is that his nephew?
This show
Is
is
it brown
filled
hair?
with lots of names, This show is filled with lots of German long names that I do not remember, but in fairness, I don't remember most of your names. For example, MerriKiwi, I don't remember that your names are... and...
The guy with the terrible haircut's name is Flegel.
No.
Flagel's
Fucking
nephew.
Flegel.
I think it might be pronounced differently, but I'm going to call him Flegel.
I think it's meant to be Flegel.
Or Flegel, yeah.
It's Flegel.
Isn't
his
that the
death.
game that Doug Doug's chat plays?
But yeah, both of those guys die well deservedly. I think Flegel dies by being shot at in a ship, and his ship explodes. And
Oh, no, it doesn't explode, I
No,
don't
wait,
think.
no. He, because he gets betrayed by his men, because he's being such an asshole. He's like, we're going to die in this firefight. And they're
Yeah.
like, no. And they all shoot
Yeah.
him and then run away.
yeah, reasonable, very reasonable move.
Because the nobles, they're all about die in glory, have a glorious death, even while they're sending who knows how many thousands or millions of people to their own death for their own ego.
That's what frustrated me so much about the nobles, because they would be like, I'm going to die in, like a noble death. And they have a ship of like 100 people with them. And it's just like, you suck so bad.
Like I said, it's a war built on a foundation of fucking privilege.
There's a couple of guys on one of the ships that we follow very briefly, where it's like, oh, here's my lovely wife and child, and you know that they're dead from that point.
Yeah, they keep bringing out, like, a photo, and it's like, dude, stop pulling out the photo of your wife and child and going, I can't wait to go home and see them.
Just a flag.
I think that guy does actually survive, because I think that's one of the two guys that's like, the ship gets attacked, it's run down, but it's not, like, destroyed. They're still able to live on it and for a bit. And he goes over to another guy and is like, oh, hey, we've got the same name. How about we just defect? Like, fuck this,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
I think that was a big realization for him because he wasn't enjoying it, but the guy with the same name was like 13. He was a kid.
Yeah,
who
he
wasn't
was
supposed to be there.
13
He
in
was-
like in things 5 weeks. He was a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
But
Oh
the
my
reason
God.
that they defected was because the Brunswick, I think it was running away, and they were a supply relief in case they needed supplies during the battle. And he was like, they're blocking our escape route. Shoot them.
Oh my
right,
god!
yes,
The
it
thing is,
is.
they were. He was told point blank, they are a supply route. Just tell them to get out of the way. And it's like, how dare they get in the way of our escape? Shoot them anyway. Like, he knew. He didn't just do it because he was fucking stupid. He was stupid and horrible.
He's comically evil.
Actually, the other thing is that when they're actually taking the fortress that the nobles have holed up in, one of the spy guys who was deployed early and is like taking it back while there's the space battle going on. Pretty much his whole tactic the whole time is hiding around a corner from where people are and going, "Are you shooting at the right people?" And then they all immediately shoot at whichever noble's nearby and defect. It's really funny.
In fairness, the whole fucking tactics they had from the beginning were awful. I mean, how do you expect to set up supply stations when they're shaped like fucking space spoons?
I do think the tactics in the show are a little hit and miss because it's just hard to imagine space battles in 3 dimensions, so they are effectively just naval ships.
That's what the old Star Trek did back in the day as well. Less these days with, fancy special effects, but, they're drawing from good inspiration.
They have little battle holograms that show the formations. Sometimes they do curve in like a wave shape around the enemy.
Yeah, but never too high up. Like, it's still kind of 2-dimensional for the most part.
It's fun though.
It is very hard to do that. Like, has anyone ever played Steel Diver Sub Wars on the 3DS, the free-to-play submarine battle game, by any chance?
I've not
No.
played that,
Just me?
but if you...
I have played Warframe's Railjack game mode, and that has 3D movement.
Yeah, the submarine one is also slow, where you have to deliberately speed up and slow down in the water and aim torpedoes and stuff like that.
Oh.
So yeah, it's... Underwater battle is probably the best parallel for space battle you can imagine, and I do not envy the animators and directors and storyboard artists and designers' task of visualizing that shit. And I think they did a bang-up job for what they had.
There's a couple of really good movies, or anime movies, where the whole thing is just, like, plain dogfights. And they have to focus entirely on that to make it really interesting and compelling. So I can see why they did it this way.
Legends of the Galactic Heroes space combat is more Battlefleet Gothic than it is Homeworld, and that is a reference that will not make sense to anyone who has not played both of those games, but that's kind of the way I think about it. Where they're
Does
mostly
Games Workshop still do that? Does
What?
Games Workshop still do Battlefleet Gothic, or did they cancel that?
I don't think they're currently making the board game, but you can still buy the video games that they made. In fact, they just re-released the first Battlefleet Gothic, I think.
I have a 7,000 piece lay DIY bootleg Lego set that I was sponsored to make of the Ultramarines cruiser. I still have not built it yet, a year later.
Oh god.
May I remind you... No, not 7,000 pieces. I need to actually see how many pieces that is, because... I will get back to you later in the podcast.
So, should we move on to the Alliance's rebellion?
Yes, which is
And we can
also...
talk about Fork. I hate him.
Fork was actually before the rebellion. Fork was in the
Yeah,
invasion.
but
I know.
he helps to instigate the rebellion.
Did he?
I do want to
he
say
shot
that.
a guy.
Yeah, tried to kill him.
That was him! I did mix him up with the drunkard guy. Okay, that was him. Nice.
No, it's 5,000 pieces. It's 5,000 pieces. I just checked.
Oh god. Yes.
Something I want to say about Fork is the second someone like rightfully chews him out for something, he basically has an aneurysm and goes temporarily blind and passes out.
Yeah!
Yeah.
He
God.
gets criticized once and gets hospitalized.
Like, and the whole attack is his idea, and he can't take any criticism on it.
He
It's so funny.
sucks.
Yeah, because this guy's like, you're in the safety of the fortress way back in Allied territory. We're out here doing your stupid fucking plan, and if you were in my shoes, you'd also want to be running away, but not in your shoes. That's exactly the fucking point.
Yeah,
To
the whole...
go...
He is... Everything he says is basically just corporate speech of, oh, we're going to do this, this, that, and it just means nothing, and people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? That literally means nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's doing this all for a promotion. It's all theory. They
And a lot
say
of
like
the
he's-
commanders and like old heads in the military rightly know it's bullshit, but because he has the authority to say this, they can't do anything about it. And that's kind of one of the big criticisms the show's making about the Alliance, is that there's too much bureaucracy to stop the war, which is insane.
They also interestingly use Yang as a scapegoat for that, because they kind of expect him to be willing to talk up, because he's a bit of a shit, like, he's not very orthodox. So they keep putting him in meetings with this guy, so he can tell him, no, that's stupid.
It's very Japanese, interestingly. Yang is their foreigner that they use to tell the bosses they don't like the idea.
The
Yeah.
loud American.
The loud American, yeah.
Except
He's just the quiet
he's
EP,
Chinese.
the quiet EP autistic Chinese guy.
yeah.
He just wants to focus on his history.
The actual it's
Rebellion?
It's a coup in the
Alliance.
It's a military coup that is again instigated from the outside by Reinhard to try and destabilize the Alliance while they deal with their civil war. I'm pretty sure is the reasoning. Like, we're going to be weak if they're not busy, so we should like instigate something over there at the same time.
Yeah, and Yang knew this would happen,
Yeah.
and couldn't do anything to stop it because none of the officials listened to him.
Yep.
So these planets got taken over and, like, military controlled.
He can't not let the citizens back in. Like, he can't say, oh no, we're not going to let millions of what's the word
Prisoners.
for it?
Prisoners of war.
Prisoners back in. Prisoners of
Yeah.
war. We can't not let millions of war prisoners back in on a hunch that's unsubstantiated.
He was right.
But it was correct, yeah.
Yeah. But, like, there's no evidence of it.
The big moment of the Alliance, I feel, is the, like, peaceful civilian protest of one of
Yeah.
the planets against this occupation, which is led by Jessica Edwards.
Yes.
And that episode was so good.
It was a really good episode because that's kind of the moment that for the Alliance side, rebellion, that it all falls apart for the people doing the coup, because that is when the citizenship fully turns on them.
Yeah, because they try a peaceful protest, and then the rebellion side decides, I can't remember the exact series of events, but they basically get angry and start shooting and kill, I think they killed 20,000 people, including Jessica Edwards, so that's kind of Yang's version of Anne Rose,
Yeah.
dead, and he loses that part of himself.
So what happened was they do a peaceful protest. The guys who staged the coup, who are now the leaders, say, all right, go break that up, resolve it peacefully. They do say, do it peacefully.
The generals specify peaceful.
Yes.
And then this guy goes up and lines 10 of them in a row and says, do you believe in peaceful protest? Yes. Hits him over the head with the butt of his gun. How about now? Goes to the next one. Do you believe in peaceful protest? I have a wife and family. Please.
hits him over the head with the gun.
He laughs.
It's very noticeable that this guy in particular loses his shit when he gets emasculated by Jessica.
Jessica calls him out
like,
and says, "You're exactly the same as Rudolph, the guy who founded the Empire. You're a brute."
Yeah.
Literally.
And then he beats her to death.
And then that's when they start rioting and stealing their guns and shooting and fighting back.
It's
Which
10,000 civvies dead, 1,500 military units dead.
Oh, is it 10,000? But still, like, crazy.
But what's interesting is the 10,000 is treated like a much bigger deal in the Alliance than the 2 million in the Empire. And I feel that kind of speaks to their whole ideas of how, different people, how life is valued within those societies. Like the 2 million people, it's like, it's terrible, but, Reinhardt will do this and do that. In the Alliance, it's like, holy shit, what have you done?
It's like noticeably more gory as well and brutal to watch. And
So
it's
I
so
want to
good.
stress, this is a very good episode. It touches on a lot of very strong points. I have beef with it.
Ooh, you've beef with it? Why?
I have beef with it because to me, it felt like they just fridged Jessica then.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think you really see her die on screen. It feels like ultimately her death is done to benefit Yang's character development, which is textbook fridging. It's just kind of like, the whole
I actually
when it was announced that
didn't
she was
find that.
sorry.
I felt like her death actually didn't have that much of an impact on Yang. Like,
No.
he was sad.
Like,
But compare that to some of the deaths later on. I think it was unfortunately just the culmination of her story arc. Like, she wanted to fight against this peacefully, and that's what happens in dictatorships, is you die. You die sadly and brutally, and it doesn't necessarily change anything.
It makes
I
it very
guess-
effective.
I didn't see much of a change in Yang's character.
I do think it's noticeable that, like, the word dictator is used frequently in this show.
Yeah.
I think I'm sort of in the middle of you two, because on one hand, I do reckon it is fridging, and it is unfortunate. But at the same time, I do also find it is itself a parallel, because Yang loses Jessica, while Reinhardt loses Kirihiais. And this is sort of the point of no return for both of them. They've both amassed massive amounts of power. They're both going to be put in positions where they have all this control, but at the cost of losing probably the person they cared about the most. And how are each of them going to react to that?
Yeah, we didn't touch on this, but Yang was definitely in love with her before she married the other guy when they were younger.
I don't know. I do think it's a good episode. I do think that ultimately it's maybe, I don't want to say good that she died, but like for the narrative it makes sense. It is just kind of like my ass was kind of
Actually, so
disappointed by it.
as a good example for it not being fridging would be kind of a lack of other female characters who are treated well. We've not touched on Yang's lieutenant.
Yes, she's important for this
Yeah.
arc.
She's a woman.
She's a woman. This is
She's a
woman.
Her name is
Greenhill?
Greenhill.
Greenhill.
Something Greenhill. Frederica?
This show passes the Bechdel test. Woohoo!
Does it?
I wouldn't go that far.
I don't think it does.
No, two women need to
Because
talk to each other. I don't know if I've seen that happen.
I don't think I've seen two women on screen at the same time as each other.
I think I did once.
Two women need to talk to each other about something that's not a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And given that this is a military show where they're talking about military leaders a lot of the time, or politics, and a lot of the politicians in this show are politicians and military
But
leaders in this show are men,
all.
I don't think it passes the Bechdel test.
I think I saw two women on screen together once, and that was when Anna Rose was like looking up at the sky early on in the show, because it was her birthday. I think that's the only time I've seen two women talk to each other. Or just be in the same room.
Speaking of Greenhill, Shashi's Yang's second in command or something like that.
Yeah.
She works very closely with Yang, and her father was the head of this rebellion, so she had a lot of personal stakes in it. And everyone
Yeah,
expected
and
Yang to like demote her for this, but he doesn't. He obviously keeps her on board.
He
Because
trusts
he's a good
her.
leader.
Yeah.
Yang's also a mess,
They-
like, in terms of everything other than strategy, so he needs people around him to look after him.
Yeah, Julian looks after him.
Yeah.
Because he's fucking useless.
Classic artist.
Julian does. Green Hill does. Fuck, I keep saying Green Hill and I keep thinking Sonic the Hedgehog.
You could call her Frederica, too.
She has a first
Oh,
name?
She does.
Women have names?
Apparently.
Nah, I
My
think that's true.
Oh, there was one other person, the leader of the Rosenritters, the defector.
Oh, the defectors from the...
yeah.
Oh, yeah, him.
yeah,
he
he's
was-
cool.
Yeah, he...
I just remembered him, which is why I'm bringing him up now. He's a cool character. I've forgotten his name, but he's a defector from the Empire, and he's real cool. He is the coolest man.
The head of the Neutral Alliance is called Adrian Rubinsky, and I wonder if that means that they're kind of meant to be Russia in this instance, or kind of an equivalent.
It's interesting because they're acting as like space Sweden, not Sweden.
Yeah, but they're also manipulating a lot from behind the
Switzerland.
scenes,
Yeah.
which I think is
I-
quite well done.
I did not like Rubinsky in my notes. I called him a war profiteer, which he is.
Yeah.
I don't like him at all.
One thing, back to the leader of the Rosenritters, one thing I found is that he knows the kind of personality he commands, but he leverages it very well, and he doesn't take shit from a lot of other people. Like, there's that scene where the supposed defector from the rebellion comes in to try and sneak aboard the ship, and it's obvious he's an assassin, and is obviously trying to assassinate Yang, and... what the guy does is he comes in with like kiss marks all over him and all sorts of things to basically disarm the guy and make him think, oh, he's not actually that shit. And then stumbles out of it so that he can stumble away after confirming that the guy's obviously a fucking spy. So that then they can turn a cryosleep pod that they've come across on one of the because obviously they've finally gotten access to Isolon Fortress. They finally have access to those sleeping pods. They just put him in a fucking sleep pod and put it on hibernate mode so that by the time he wakes up, the battle's already over. I think when they
I
basically
think he
showed
does
him in the sleep...
emerge as well.
Yeah,
he
they
does.
use
does.
them.
Yeah, and then he actually properly defects, at least for now. But when he was shown in the pod and is like, yeah, no, we just put him on fucking hibernate until the battle's over, I burst out laughing because it's just like, lol, nope.
Shall we talk about what happens in the last episode? Are we ready?
Oh, I'm quite proud of the joke I made when I saw it.
So, both civil wars ends well for our heroes. Well, question mark. Like, you know, Jessica's dead for Yang and he's going through it. But hey, Commander Greenhill, Frederica's dad, is dead, so she's going through it. And obviously Reinhard is going through it a little with the guilt over what he did to or what happened to that planet that got nuked. And Kirchi, I will say Kirchis again. Kirkis
Kirchis.
finds
Kirkias.
out.
Curious.
Kirkis.
Ice.
He finds out that or he hears a rumor that Reinhard let the nuking happen. He let it happen, so he's going to confront Reinhard when they get back to meet up again, because they've been separated for most of the back half of this season.
And when they do finally speak, Reinhard basically just puts his foot down and says, "You're my subordinate," and it kind of breaks their relationship a little bit. And then the next thing that happens is that someone tries to assassinate Reinhard, and Kirkios jumps in front of him and gets killed. And
He experiences twink death.
he experiences twin death.
And real death.
And specifically
Pride
and
Month, no
notably,
less.
I know, specifically and notably, the assassin says, "I've killed the other half of you," which is amazing.
Like, he calls him his other half, and then, like, Reinhard just sits by Curtius's dead body for,
Well, no,
like,
dying
20
body.
days.
He's still dying.
No, you didn't see that
Yes.
bit. So afterwards, they have him in a coffin, and Reinhard is just sat next to him, going slightly insane. And from what we can tell, it's somewhere around 20 days later when they finally
Yeah.
manage to get him away from the body.
God.
And
Yeah,
his general
when-
decides that we should overthrow the government
Yeah.
to make him feel better.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you feel better. A coup.
In Oberstein's defense, that Reinhardt did tell him to prepare from an attack from the rear. He expected the Prime Minister to attack. He didn't expect Oberstein to just go and take the government, just completely take it over.
I also think it's important that during the attack on Reinhard, Oberstein also jumps in to protect him. It's not just Kurtz.
He does care about Reinhardt. He wants Reinhardt to succeed, but the tactics are different.
I do want to say, just really quick, I want to say that when Kierheis is on the floor dying and Reinhard is next to him, everything around them goes black. It's just the two of them.
Yeah. Like, he can't see anything else.
There is no heterosexual relationship for... Not relationship. There's no heterosexual explanation for this. There's definitely not a heterosexual relationship in there. Definitely not.
God, it's supernatural scene. King or two queens.
Classic homophobic child.
And there's a bit where Reinhard asks his sister Anne Rose if she was in love with Kierkeis, and we don't hear the answer, which I think is really interesting.
I think it's gonna be no.
Which is kind of weird considering the age gap.
Well, like, that's
Yeah.
the thing, though, is she was always trying to impart on Kurt just to look after Reinhard. Like, when he dies, like, he's basically like, tell her I did what she asked. Which makes me think, like, their relationship was more an excuse for him to be close to Reinhard than it was because he liked her.
Yeah. It's really compelling. I love these two, and that is the one thing that's holding me off of just like jumping into season 2 immediately, beyond the fact that we've got other things to watch. And it's the show isn't gonna have Siegfried in it anymore, and that is disappointing because I know I'm gonna miss him. He's such a good part of the show.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, he's upgraded to a new evil boyfriend.
I think a lot of that boils down to the fact that a lot of the flashbacks that we see of Reinhardt and Kierkeis, now I'm saying it wrong, a lot of them were things we hadn't seen. It is the inverse of Dog Soldiers, where it will just cut to flashbacks that we've already seen 5 billion times. With the... It's... As we go through the series, they do flashbacks of things we've seen before, but for the most part...
I think all of it was
when
stuff
they
we'd seen
flashback-
before, no?
Except for episode 25, there are a couple of actual flashbacks to parts of the anime as opposed to flashbacks to stuff that happened before the anime.
Yeah, like when they're children and stuff, we'd seen that before.
When? I don't remember us seeing that.
I think it was quite early on.
I remember them flashing back to that early in the show. That was a flashback. That wasn't them just showing it in the shows. Those were flashbacks that we hadn't seen before, and that was really cool.
That's what's being said. Mostly, if there's a flashback, it will be something that we haven't previously seen.
Yes,
in
yes.
Like,
episode
it's
25
the
specifically,
flashback.
they flashback to scenes
Yeah.
we've already seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's on. Yeah, but I'm saying that.
The problem here is the word flashback means both.
Yeah, flashback to
Yeah.
flashback.
Yeah, no, but no. What I'm saying is, with a lot of those earlier flashbacks, they're not there to just fill time. They're not there to just. They're not yet there to force us to inorganically care. They are there to build the relationship block by block, scene by scene, show that they actually do care for each other, give us more information and more context about their relationship that we haven't seen before, so that by the time the big reveal and the big death does happen, we've spent a fucking long time with them, and we do actually care.
That's the advantage of long shows, though. I'm always talking about how, like, if a show is long, then you get to sit with the characters for a long period of time. I care about this death a hell of a lot more than I care about a death in, like, a regular 13-episode anime, because you get to sit with it for so long, and there's still so much more to go afterwards as well.
Arcane Season 2!
Something just related to Kierheis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Probably not. Who knows?
When I saw him, I was
I
like,
think we're all pronouncing it differently.
"Oh, is this shoujo?" Because his design it just screams shoujo to me. He's so
Also-
different from everyone else. His eyes, he's got those memes stares at you with blue eyes.
He's got that dog in him.
He's innocent.
To be fair, the eyes do become a lot better drawn after episode 15, perhaps when they started adding some of those in-betweeners from
I noticed
overseas.
that the eyes looked weird in episode 15.
Interesting. Maybe that was the switchover point. But, like, very noticeably, you didn't see that bit, June, but now Reinhard has a locket with a picture of him, his sister, and Kirkiais, and a lock of Kirkiais' hair in the locket.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was so
It's
gay.
incredibly heterosexual.
Doomed Yowie in Pride Month.
There was something very specific on his Kirkiai's tombstone as well, and I can't remember.
It was my friend.
It was like just my friend
Yeah.
and nothing else.
Achilles and his friend.
You know, because like by this point he's like vice admiral as well, Curtius's, or like the rear admiral.
No, they promoted him as well. He's like, gets a
Yeah,
much...
and he got that. But I mean, like, before he died, he was quite high up, so the fact on the tombstone, the only thing that's inscribed is that he was Reinhard's friend.
It's just, oh my
Friend.
god.
And they were roommates.
special friend.
But I feel like this is Reinhard's downfall here. Like, I feel like this is where he's gonna become a villain because he's lost so much and he has so much power.
Yeah.
He's gonna become the thing he hated.
And also, he has Oberstein on his shoulder, going like, "Yes, do the war crimes.
Also, yes.
They'll be politically good."
He already had the signs of being a villain, like when he was a kid and he beat that other kid's head in with a rock and had to be stopped.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Or when he
I forgot
takes a
about
gun
that.
to just try and kill the Kaiser when he's a child. He's like, I'm just gonna go kill him.
Which I don't blame him for that.
Even when he tries to literally just punch, he slaps the guy in the middle of class and just in broad daylight, like, no, I'm that fucking guy. He is going to fall off the deep end, and I can only see this going one or two ways. He gets too despotic for even Oberstein, or he doesn't go far enough and Oberstein tries to overthrow him.
Oh yeah, he might betray him. You know, that's a good point. I can see that. Oh, let me say the thing that I am stressing about in this anime.
Oh,
In the ending, it's all the characters. It's all very standard. But right at the end of the ending, it's Yang and Julian, and Yang disappears, and then it's just Julian looking up at Reinhard. So I'm so worried they're gonna kill Yang.
No! Oh
That's
god.
kind of what I thought the end of season 1 was gonna be.
I was like bracing for it. Yeah.
Was that like Yang would die and Julian would take over, because in those last few episodes, Yang is like really kind of like grooming him to be a leader.
Yeah, he's getting
You know,
a lot
like
of
taking
screen
him
time.
aside, giving him a lot of like, you know, talking him through how to come up with strategy. And there's like someone else like makes an offhand comment that Julian's probably going to become a better strategist than Yang is.
Julian's also
And it was
better
just
at the
like,
politics
oh,
too. It's painful.
yeah.
I'm so scared.
And that could be why they killed off... That could be another reason why they killed off Kirihi Ice Cream so early, because that sets up other deaths in the show so much later, because, like, shit, if they were able to kill off Yoshikage and Kira so early, they're gonna kill off who else are they gonna kill off in the show?
Yeah. Oh man.
so I think that kind of brings us to the end. I think we did something at the end of the first episode, which was gonna be a thing, and I've forgotten.
Oh,
what
it was the next person who is.
Well, no.
That's-
Well, yeah, we'll do that in just a little bit, but I meant like in terms of closing out thoughts on this show. But I can't remember what it was, so I'm just going to ask the thing that I always do. What did we think about this show in the end?
It's real
Did
good.
we-
I can see why people
real
think
good.
it's
It was
a
good.
masterpiece. That's very good.
And this is only season 1, which I have heard from someone who I met at con and started chatting with, that this is nothing. This is just set up for shit that happens later.
Oh my god.
This is a show I feel I really needed at the moment. A show that is highbrow, takes itself seriously. A show that is as smart as the author thinks it is, where things don't just happen because they happen, where each step logically cascades into the next. And it's so many things that shouldn't work. Like, even the fact that they use classical music should be quaint and like, oh, that's cheap, whatever. But it fucking works. Everything just
yes.
works really, really well.
Episode 21 has the fried omelette song.
Yes, that was what I was going to mention. It has the song that they use as the ED of Dragon Half, and it's a different orchestration of it. It's not the same version, obviously, but it did fuck with me when I heard it, because it's like, I can't take this seriously anymore.
There is a very real possibility that the song from Five Nights at Freddy's will show up at some point.
Oh,
But
that'll be a treat.
that aside,
Five Nights at Freddy.
That'll
that
be a
aside,
treat.
this show feels like the kind of show that I wanted Arcane Season 2 to be. It's the kind of show that's got the kind of writing I want to see in a lot of modern shows, but isn't because, it's got to be second screen viewing where everyone has to explain what they're doing.
Yeah, also they don't get the time to show it, to sit with it for the length of time that it requires.
It's the kind of show they don't make anymore. And honestly, it's making me want to continue Babylon 5, which I put on hold and I gotta get back to. It's a fucking good show. The hype is real. Just go watch it yourself. Although there is a movie version of the first few episodes that might do you better. None of us have had time to really watch it before then, but...
I did read that the OVA is a better first episode, or first two episodes, than the first two episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've also heard that the remake that's happening is a better first few episodes, but I've heard mixed feelings, so I don't know if anyone's seen any of it.
I have, but when it first came out, I think I was back in high school when it first started releasing, and I watched the first few episodes, and I'm like, yeah, I just don't vibe with any of these characters. I don't get a feeling for them. Things just kind of happening. Ironically, the exact opposite of what this show did, but I was a kid at the time, or at the very least a much younger adult with a not as highbrow brain and stuff like that, and I could be wrong, but I'm not going to watch that anyway because it's not fucking finished, and I'd rather just watch this that is.
You could also maybe start with Gaiden, which we've not watched, but that is a 2-season prequel. But if you're going to start with this, then it's a great place to start. I fucking loved this show. Are we done? Is anyone else
think
have any
so.
thoughts?
Mary, you
I
got any
picked it for the
thoughts?
meme. I picked it for the meme, but I was blindsided.
Space Yowie.
Space Yowie.
I actually don't really feel the need to continue watching it.
Interesting.
Like I said before, it's like not really my sort of thing, but equally I found it kind of almost a coherent story in of itself of the rise of Reinhard. Also, his name appears at the start of every single episode.
Oh,
It says Reinhard von Londengram, but it's in like a really fucked cursive font. So it took me like 20 episodes to notice that's what it said. But no, like I feel quite satisfied with it, but I don't feel that kind of itch to continue watching.
Also, I heard that the German in the show is horrendous and not accurate at all.
I mean, the English in this show.
It's been like 600 years.
I've purged all the German from my mind, so I can't say that.
The screens that have the Latin alphabet on it, it's just keyboard smashes.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that was so good!
It really is gay!
anyway, as that brings this month to a close, Mira, you're picking our next one. What are we watching?
We're gonna watch the hit, I want to say 2012, adaptation of a Nitro Chiral visual novel.
Woo!
Hooray!
Hooray!
What's it called?
That came out in 2010.
Oh.
It is called Tagainu no Chi,
Yay!
aka Blood of the Reprimanded Dog. It is only 12 episodes because I'm being nice to you. It's gonna be fun. Trigger
It's gonna be fun.
warnings for everything.
Oh
Everything.
no, do we have to reset the calendar?
Everything.
It's a yaoi visual novel adaptation, so
Yes. Every counter is getting reset.
Oh.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be
Oh, dear.
fun! Anyway, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
Shit, bye.
Kiruhiyaisu!
Bubble Burst Rental has now closed. We hope you enjoy your stay. Thank you to our staff members, MerriKiwi and DrLockdown. You can find their information in the description below. Please come back next month for Toga Inu no Chi. Thank you.